Hello and welcome to Laytechs Weekly episode 25th August 2021. Laytechs Weekly is brought to you by Laytechs, your protection from tech ignorance. My name is Sean. This week's news: Apple already scanning iCloud mail for child sexual abuse content. In last week's Laytechs Weekly report, we talked about Apple wanting to scan iCloud for child sexual abuse content. We also talked about how this may open up possibilities of Apple being able to scan users, devices, and iClouds for other content in the future as well, which sparked a very big privacy issue with people who are staunch users of Apple because of its privacy policies, right? A report by 9to5Mac on the 23rd of August confirms that Apple has been scanning iCloud Mail for the content since 2019. Anyhow, Apple will push ahead to enable the scanning of these content in iCloud photos on iPhones and iPads very soon, so that there's nothing that we can escape. Apple did say that other service providers have already been doing this, and it's not as if they are doing something out of the ordinary. There are still a lot of backlash, but I don't think the backlash will amount to anything at this point. AirAsia came out with ride-hailing app. AirAsia has been teasing their own ride-hailing app for a while now, and it has just been announced. It's called AirAsia Ride, very creative, as part of its super app, which includes other features like travel, e-commerce, and fintech. Similar to Grab, AirAsia Ride allows us to choose the type of cars for our needs. It also provides a list of recommended drivers for users to choose from, something that Grab doesn't have. Users can also book an all-star ride and will be driven around by AirAsia pilots and cabin crew. I don't see any specialty in that, but at this COVID time, these guys are not employed to do any work, so I guess this is part of them doing some work, earning their keep. There is also a lady driver's option, which is ideal for female passengers. So female passengers who don't feel secure with male drivers can opt for lady drivers. So, and for lady drivers to drive female passengers, it's safer for both of them as well. It is actually it's a very good concept to book a flight with your app and then book a ride to the airport as well, reload the app to also pay for other things, and with the cash always circulating in the apps for all users, AirAsia can provide microloans to riders and restaurant owners in which they will have money to build the business, run the business, and provide to, and feed back into the ecosystem. It's exactly the same concept Grab is using, except of course of the flight part, because Grab does not have an airline, not yet. Well, I think that the Malaysian ride-hailing and food delivery industry is in dire need of a competition. Grab is taking up too much, and the best one is a homegrown one. And now that Grab is no longer a Malaysian company, thanks to it being headquartered in Singapore and being partly owned by Temasek now, so we lost our Malaysian-grown app. AirAsia Ride could be the new one. Google released the Pixel 5a. It looks almost the same like the 4a, both from the outside and under the hood. It even sports the same processor as its predecessor, which is a rare thing for mobile devices because usually subsequent ones will have better processor chips, right? So it only makes sense. The Pixel 5a is like a final touch, feels like the final touch to the old Pixel concept before they unveiled the Pixel 6 with its own Tensor chip. So the 5a feels like closing chapter 1 before opening chapter 2 with the Pixel 6. The upgrades are the IP67 water resistance rating, which is a good addition because the previous ones hardly has any water resistance. A larger battery pack. Big batteries are always good. Slightly larger screen and a cheaper price than the Pixel 4a. That's new. Well, yeah, because old chips are cheaper, so therefore they can't charge more, right? It also has a new slightly off green/black color. This phone gives me the impression that they still have leftover parts from 4a that they didn't want to waste them, throw them away. So what they did was they took whatever they had in the workshop and cobbled something up and called it the 5A. Doesn't mean that it's a bad phone though. It's still a brilliant mid-range device with class-leading cameras. The biggest downside is that we may never be able to get our hands on them because, we're in Malaysia and all that. As always, pixels will either be brought in through grey import or you just don't get it at all. A more powerful Mac Mini may be coming. Well, will most probably be coming. Bloomberg reporter and renowned Apple leaker Mark Gurman said that a high-end M1X Mac Mini is expected in the next several months, with updated design and more ports than the current model. The current M1 Mac Mini is a very competent machine, but power users would like to have more horsepower, right? So the M1X may be able to fill that gap, which also makes sense why Apple may add more ports at the back of this new machine. So now the question is, if I want to get a Mac Mini, do I wait for the M1X or do I straight away go for the M1? The M1 Mac Mini is more expensive than the Mac Minis before that, even in entry level. And there is good suspicion that M1X models will be more expensive than M1 Mac Minis. So if you're not looking to fork out a bunch of cash for a Mac Mini, then go for the one that is already the M1 lineup that is already available right now. But if you want something with more power use, like for example video processing or lots of Adobe Illustrator work and things like that, then you may want to wait for the M1X. OnlyFans bans adult content, and here's why. Online fundraising platform OnlyFans exploded into stardom with adult content thanks mainly to the COVID lockdowns that began early last year. It launched that small startup into a major company. I would like to say a household name, but that would be inappropriate because, adult content and all that. Then last week, OnlyFans announced that they are going to ban all adult content from their platform. I was initially quite dumbfounded by this action because I don't really understand, right? Adult content turned OnlyFans into a billion-dollar company, and it didn't make sense to just drop the cash cow like that. Then, founder and CEO Tim Stokely came out and explained that banks were behind this decision. 3 major banks in America labeled the business this company is in as, quote, reputational risk, and would flag and reject every wire transaction that threatened to pay its creators. So this is a problem. When transactions don't get through, this becomes an issue, creators don't get paid, and everything falls apart, right? Even payment processors like MasterCard and Visa are also clamping down on the use of their cards to pay for sexual content. This kind of limitation was initially set up to prevent child sexual abuse content and non-consensual porn material, i.e. revenge porn. But it also broadly covers sex and work pornography. So in any case, everything in OnlyFans kind of falls into this category. So despite it being a very lucrative industry to be in, the transaction bottleneck will always be a problem to anyone who wants to get into this business. And it is also the actual reason why OnlyFans is leaving this industry. It's just not worth the problem, the pain. Unless the entire transaction platform is disrupted by an independent provider who rides on blockchain technology. One can only imagine. That is all for Laytechs Weekly this week. Laytechs Weekly is available on Anchor FM, Overcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and I post basic clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is, if you like Laytechs Weekly, it would really help if you could rate and review it on the podcast feed of your choice and on YouTube so more can discover it. Laytechs Weekly is looking for regular co-hosts to bring more depth to the show. If you're interested, simply drop me an email at ShawnBQT, that is SHAWN, B for Bangkok, Q for Queensland, T for Thailand, at hotmail.com. That is all for Laytechs Weekly, episode 25th August 2021. My name is Sean. See you next week. Stay safe. Au revoir.